Good morning. I wanted to talk to you today about your first visit with the primary treating physician. This will be the specialist. You've maybe already been with the urgent care doctors or with an industrial clinic such as HealthPoint or US HealthWorks, something along that line. But you've been dealing with generalists, doctors who are not specialized in specific skill sets of areas of medicine. So if you've had an orthopedic injury, for instance, you need to be seen by a certified orthopedic surgeon. And that's what you're going to be doing when you go to a PTP. And that's a doctor that we have selected off of the list provided from the insurance company that's been approved by the state of California. And we picked a doctor that we think will do a good job for you from the list that is available to us. We can't pick every doctor we like, okay? But we do get to pick from their list, and their list usually consists of about 20 to 30 doctors within about a 30-mile radius, depending on where you live. And that helps us pick. We know doctors we'd like to see treat you, and we also know doctors, a lot of doctors, quite frankly, that we don't want you to treat with because of various problems that we've had in the past. So going to the PTP for the first visit, this is very important. You'll say, oh, well, he's going to be my treater. That's true, but we need for you to be prepared, and that's why we prepared this video for you. The first time you go see this doctor is very important. And the reason it's important is this. The industrial clinic has probably treated you for one area of your body or maybe two. The one that hurt the most, the one that was bleeding at the time, or the one that needed attention at the time, the original cause of accident. But he doesn't talk about the other parts of the body that you struck as you were falling to the ground and you hit your head as well as your shoulder, your elbow, and your knee, in addition to your low back. Your low back is giving you the most problems, but all those other problems, they've completely ignored. Well, when you go to the PTP, it's very important. We send him a letter and explain to him why each of those body parts were injured in your case, and most importantly, that medical treatment needs to be provided. Now, sometimes there'll be a little fight between us and the insurance company as to whether they accept those body parts for treatment, but we'll take care of that later. Most importantly is that when you see the PTP, it's critical that you give them each of the different body parts that you were injured and are having problems with. It's so important. I have more clients say, well, I didn't tell them about my neck because it really wasn't bothering me too bad until 6 months later. The judge isn't going to award that. You need to be telling the doctor as soon as you get a complaint in a body part or a part of the area of the body, and tell the doctor about that. Make sure he writes that down. He may say something, well, I'm here to treat for you for your back. Well, who's going to treat me for my elbow or my shoulder? He then makes a referral in his report. But if you don't mention your elbow or your shoulder, that'll never get treated. And at the end of your case, you'll say, what about my elbow and about my shoulder? And we could be a year down the road. Not a good scenario. The judge doesn't buy the credibility issue. Okay? So it's very important that when you see the PTP for the very first time, that you tell him all of the body parts. Because he may walk in and say, okay, I see that you hurt your low back. Well, that's true, but I also hurt my elbow, my shoulder, my knee, and whatever, my other hand. Whatever body parts you were hurt, you've got to tell them, and then you've got to tell them what the symptoms are. They're not all going to be the same. Maybe the low back is driving you nuts, is really giving you the most concern. But if it bothers you on the other areas, you need to tell them, and that's the reason why I created this video, because too many of our clients fail to do that on that first visit. And then if you come back in 6 weeks and say, well, he's developed a problem with the elbow. No, the elbow has always bothered me. I just didn't mention it, or the doctor wouldn't write it down. So it's very, very important that you do tell the doctor each of the body parts that you hurt on the original injury. The second area, and this probably won't happen right away, probably not on the first visit to the primary treating physician, but is an event such as what we call a compensable consequence. This usually takes place over time, but I'm going to mention it here because let's say you hurt your left shoulder. You cannot use your left shoulder any longer, right? Because it's a problem. You've got limited motion on it, right? So what you've got to tell them is, over time, I was using my right shoulder and my left shoulder was still under treatment, but my other shoulder started to give me problems. That's natural. Of course, you're going to be overuse, and the doctor needs to know when that develops because that can become part of your case as well. So it's always critical, and most critical at the time you see your doctor, the PTP, the first visit, to tell him every part of the body that you've injured and you've got concerns with. And he will address that if you tell him right up front on that first visit. So hopefully this helps you. That's what it's intended to be. I look forward to hearing from you and looking forward to the medical reports that we'll have and we'll be getting from you, from the doctors on your case. Thanks a lot.